Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we are listening to a New Leaders program featuring Cindy Kent, the Vice President of Marketing for Medtronics Incorporated. We will return to our speaker in a minute for our traditional City Club questions. We encourage you to formulate questions for our speakers now and remind you that your questions should be very, very brief and to the point. We welcome you to the City Club New Leaders program. Our greetings to those present in this room, especially those who are guests. We hope you will join the City Club and become active in our ongoing civic dialogue. And you can do this by coming to our program that we have this Friday on February 19th. The City Club will welcome Ann Campbell Goodman, who is the President and CEO of the Cleveland Food Bank, who will discuss Who Are Hungry? New data on emergency food service clients and the choice they face. On Monday, February 22nd, you can also come and attend the City Club, in which we will hold a Republican roundtable with Matt Dolan, who is a candidate for Cuyahoga County Executive. Tickets for these programs are limited, so please purchase your tickets soon. Tuesday, February 23rd, the City Club will welcome Lieutenant Governor and candidate for the United States Senate, Lee Fisher, for a press special forum. For more information about our programs, please refer back to your printed program. And if you would like or wish to make reservations or order a CD or DVD of today's program, please call 1-888-223-6786 or 216-621-0082. We would also like to welcome the tables hosted by eCity, our partner for this program, Team Neo, also Case Western Reserve, in addition to many of the guests who have come here, and also the Cleveland Clinic, as well as Northwestern University. We would now like to return to our speaker for our traditional City Club question and answer period. We welcome questions from everyone, including our guests. Holding the microphone is the City Club New Leaders Membership Chair, Laura Malone. And our first question, please.
Well, Cindy, thank you for a wonderful and inspiring message. It would seem to me that underlying many of the issues that take us to the healthcare disparities is cultural competencies or cultural incompetencies. So what has Medtronics done with respect to enhancing cultural competencies and raising awareness about these unconscious biases that impact the work that the company does?
You are absolutely correct, and I thank you for that I didn't call that out specifically. A lot of the materials that are being developed by way of patient education materials do facilitate culturally competent dialogue. So we don't take a typical brochure and simply translate it into other languages, etc. And for example, where we know we have populations that aren't necessarily, their first language is not English, we use images more often and frequently. So if you take one of those brochures, typically you will see less writing and more images to convey a concept in words than you would in other areas. The other thing is underwriting grants and research projects with healthcare systems themselves to teach doctors and hold seminars around the area and to the topic of cultural competence. So there is an active stand that we're actively engaged in. It has been going on in our cardiovascular area, which is 60% of our overall revenues area of the business for years, and now that's bleeding over and educating the rest of our divisions in doing the same. So thank you for your question.
Good afternoon, and thanks for your remarks. Welcome to Cleveland.
Thank you.
Interested in your thoughts as we continue to struggle as a country with this healthcare debate. What suggestions or ideas you might have as to how health disparities might be more effectively addressed through that medium, this current federal discussion.
Yep. So it goes back to what I outlined as foundational principles, and then I will again separate your two questions, which I heard in there is what can we do, and then the other is how relevant is the current policy or policy that's put forth in the area of healthcare disparities. The healthcare policy that's being put forth addresses addresses the foundational domain that I talked about by way of access, of making sure Americans have access to care. That is certainly an issue, but I will take the African American population overall. If you look at the African American population that does not have access to health care at any kind, whether it is Medicare or federally funded or private or through their employer, et cetera, it's 34%. So if you look across the board and can it make a difference, the answer is yes. But I don't know that everyone realizes that it's not, 70, 80% of that particular population. So that's the first thing of advancing the notion of access. The second part, I would argue, is what we can do and what all of us can do is being informed participants in the discussion, knowing what the key drivers are of the policies, knowing what the issues are around health disparities. So it goes into my what's in it for you and what you can do, and it's point number 2, being aware. What are the issues of health disparity? I was extremely involved in the discussion, for example, when I was in pharmaceuticals with the area of obesity, because it dominated and controlled everything about access and delivery of quality of care to obese patient populations. However, when I moved to Medtronic, and specifically to a division that to date, no research has indicated that the areas that my particular division has lines or divisions around race or gender, we've got to keep looking. We've got to stay engaged of finding, not creating problems, but making sure that we're open and not taking the easy way out saying, hey, that's a CV issue. We'll let them handle it, but for neuromodulation, we get a pass on this one. But continue to engage in saying what we can do and how we can be active in the discussions.